So this has been passed around the past few days. It's a thought experiment, not exactly anything new, but sort of maybe repackaged. I believe Tim Urban was the original. It simply states that everyone in the world has to take a private vote by pressing a red or blue button. If more than 50% press the blue button, everyone survives. If less than 50% of people press the blue button, then only the people who press the red button survives. Which button would you press? Now, I'm going to wrap back around to that. 20 million views on that tweet. I'm going to wrap back around to that because the main point of contention I have on this is this guy's version of it, David Shore. Within a day, just shy of a day, he made his own version of it that was supplied only to, as he puts it, nationally representative Americans, whatever the hell that means. And he says it's a large sample, but it's only 2,692 responses. Now, David Shore, it says here, is a head data scientist at the Blue Rose Research, based in New York City, unsurprisingly, originally from Miami, Florida. And it says, I try to elect Democrats. Now, that I thought was interesting to me. So I thought, who would ever say, I try to elect Democrats? You say you vote for something, right? So then who is David Shore? I had no idea who David Shore is. Well, David Shore was working with the Barack Obama campaign in 2012 when he was only 20 years old. He then worked with Kamala Harris and the Future Forward PAC, along with Anita Dunn and Kara Swisher, the main super PAC and leading fundraising vehicle for Kamala Harris's 2024 presidential campaign. He's a socialist, a self-proclaimed center-left data guru, or he's described as a data guru. I mean, center-left that's a hard sell for me. This guy's been on the left since 2012, when he was 20 years old. I mean, he's in his mid-30s now, so for basically half of his life, he's been working for the Democrats. So saying center-left is that's a hard sell for me. But Vox described Shore as perhaps the most influential data scientist in the Democratic Party. So who is David Shore? Well, it says he grew up in Miami, Florida, as in a Sephardic Jewish family of Moroccan origins. His parents were born in Israel, and his brother served in the Israeli Defense Forces Golani Brigade. His father is a conservative rabbi, and his mother is a doctor who was a socialist growing up. Shore said that following Israeli politics was a formative experience and left him with a view that many American kids never develop. Quote, the public can be bad. It is very important to manage public opinion. So a guy raised by a conservative rabbi, an Israeli, and a socialist grew up to be a socialist data guru who thinks that having your own opinion is a bad thing, and now he's working with the Democrats. That's interesting. So this guy's a math wizard. He got his undergraduate degree at 13, finished at 17, so I mean he's like full-on math savant here, right? So that's that's how he got into the Barack campaign at the age of 20, which is impressive. I do like this particular quote attributed to him. The reality is anything that empowers online donors mechanically disempowers non-white and working-class Democrats. I don't know why working-class Democrats is added in there, but basically it's saying that online donations are racist. That's interesting. I don't know how exactly. I guess it's like that one woman who said that the young black kids in the Bronx, they don't know how to use the internet or the computers or whatever. I mean, how do you exactly register that that's racist online donations? Well, anyway, we're just going to keep all that in mind as we move on because he has some interesting tweets here. Very excited to announce that we're hiring for an AI-focused software engineering role. This is a great chance to work with a giant novel dataset and cutting-edge AI to help defeat Trump in 2026. Yes, he's defeat Trump, to help defeat Trump. I mean, it's just like he says, he tries to elect Democrats. I really remember that particular line. I try to elect Democrats. Think about what kind of authority you must feel to say something like that. I mean, why would someone say, I try to elect Democrats? Like, what power you'd have to be to say something like that? It's not something anyone would just say, right? Well, moving on, here's another one from him. Universal free school lunch is literally the most popular progressive education policy we've polled. I like that he's giving praise to Ilhan Omar and Bernie Sanders, who started this back in 2019. Of course, we know that Ilhan Omar's in a bit of hot water now, and Bernie Sanders is trying to get his tax the billionaire bill by what was it called? So some ridiculous, like, make billionaires pay their fair share, some ridiculous thing like that, manipulative wording, and he's basically trying to bribe people with a $3,000 check in order to get them to vote for that. But my favorite part of this is the bill itself, or the policy itself, was called Progressive Education Policy. Like, what part of giving kids free food is part of progressive education? Ah, yes, it's progressive to give kids free food, is it? So you're saying that socialism is progressive or communism is progressive? Is that the intent there? And I remember Redditors passing this crap around all the time. Like, it's the easiest litmus test you could ever pass. Do you want to give kids free food? And they'd say it like you're some sort of demon if you disagree with it. Like, the logistics and mathematics of it. I mean, this guy's a math wizard, right? Do you have infinite money that the government can just pay for all the food for every kid? Why not pay for all of their medical expenses as well? Why not pay for everything kids need? Isn't that good? Isn't it a good thing to pay for everything a kid needs? Shouldn't the government be doing that? It's ridiculous, and this guy knows better. He's doing it to spread propaganda, obviously, and that's very clear when looking at some of his other tweets. This is him responding to himself, so let's start with the one from 2024. Dems saw vote shares increase in the high turnout neighborhoods, but saw very large declines in low turnout areas. And he responded to that by saying, people really underrate how weird this is. People who read the news and vote a lot swung towards Democrats in absolute terms. Trump won because people who don't follow politics closely swung massively towards him. So this is something that Democrats in the higher echelons of learning tend to do a lot, where they and also the posers who follow behind them like puppies. They tend to say that Republicans are just these stupid ass backwards farmers, land doesn't vote, crap like that, in order to suggest that only Democrats should be allowed to vote and Republicans shouldn't. Basically, they're saying unless you live in a big city, then you don't matter. Now, that's kind of the point. Like, how did the world get to where it is? Because of Democrats. And how did Democrats get so much power? Because all the cities need to be democratic. You have all of these people from all of these different places in the world coming together in one city, and that city then has to be tolerant of each other. Those people can be racist or sexist or xenophobic or whatever, but they need to be tolerant or else they're going to get arrested and go to prison, right? So they have to tolerate each other. But as tolerance wears thin, they then become a little bit more belligerent. There's more violence. There's more enclavization. You get this section is for that color. This section is for that gender. This section's for that religion, whatever. And things start to go south, and the government has to step in, like in New York, where they're now abolishing the police because it's racist. They're abolishing the prisons because it's racist. The government is now owning the grocery stores there. California has got their own ridiculous things, like the laws that disallow the school systems, the faculty, from telling the parents of the children what the gender of their own child is in order to protect their trans rights or whatever when they're at school. It's just absurd, and that's what happens in these big democratic cities. You have all this crap being made there. They're making the future there, and so they are the news. They're the news. They get the news. They hear the news. The people out in the boonies, they don't. But then all that changed, right? With mobile phones and mobile websites, which have really ruined the world in a lot of ways. But this is one of the ways they didn't ruin the world. They gave those people, Joe the farmer, he now gets the news. He didn't get the news before. And if he did, he only got it from like mainstream media. And even mainstream media is being ruined by the mobile stuff, right? You have independent journalists and podcast bros. I mean, used to be people only heard it from CNN and Fox. Now Nick Shirley walks into a town in California and suddenly every single Democrat there is on their toes with their hair standing on end because they're afraid of him telling the truth. They're afraid of him posting something on YouTube. So these democratic cities, they changed the entire world because, well, the city needs to be democratic. The city needs to be democratic, and that ended up changing the world in favor of Democrats. I would think someone who's as smart as David Shore could probably figure that out, but he seems to be pushing this narrative that Trump voters are stupid. A lot of the Democrats are saying this kind of thing, that anyone who voted for Trump didn't go to college, they're stupid, they're just some ass-backwards farmer in the middle of Ohio, they don't deserve the right to vote, etc. That's not literally what he said, but reading between the lines, that's what he's meant. I mean, again, he's apparently a centrist leftist, so maybe that's not really what he meant, but that's what I'm gathering from it. And I don't know, reading this particular comment, I struggle to believe that he's a centrist leftist. This comment says, it would have surprised us all 10 years ago that Republicans have empirically become the party of pimps and felons and people on welfare, while Democrats have become the party of non-tech CEOs and people in well-to-do suburbs and military generals and people who read the Financial Times. Yes, I forgot how reading the Financial Times makes you a good person. You want to add any other things in there, like cure cancer, donate to charity, they adopt puppies, any other things about that? I mean, it's the party of prostitution. Why do you think abortion is their main thrust, which you should know because you worked with the Obama campaign and the Harris campaign? The party of felons? You mean there's no felons in the Democrats at all, really? That's an odd thing to say. And welfare, I mean, that's, well. This guy is, he seems like he's spreading propaganda. And I believe his math. Like, he does seem obsessed with numbers, and I don't think he's fudging the numbers or anything. And I'm only specific. He's talked about other things that don't technically have anything to do with Trump or whatever, but these are just more prevalent to the point, because the point is this. He took the original question, and then he sampled it, I guess. I mean, he or whoever in his group, the Blue Rose Research Center, they sampled it through 2,692 people, I guess. And then, I mean, I don't know what a nationally representative American is. I mean, I'm not even sure what that's supposed to mean these days. But they asked them, and then they ran it through their. I mean, I guess they like cross-referenced it through their votes, and they did all of this in order to show that Republicans are evil, right? Like that's basically the narrative here. So let's do it in reverse order. Blue is the correct answer, not because Democrats, but let's do it in reverse order. So gray shouldn't even be on there. Gray is not sure. In the original one, there is no gray. And there is no gray. I mean, the question doesn't even allow for such a thing. Imagine everyone in the world has to take a private vote by pressing a red or blue button. It doesn't say that there's a gray button. But given that gray is an answer on their particular query here, let's just say the gray is a choice. If no one pressed the button, everyone gets to live, right? So that's a correct answer. No one presses the button, everyone gets to live. Then there's the red button. The red button, again, just to remind everyone who doesn't know what this is, if 50% of people press the blue button, everyone survives. Sorry, if more than 50% press the blue button, then everyone survives. If less than 50% press the blue button, only the people who press the red button survives. So if you press the red button, you're guaranteed to live, no matter what. And you must realize that if everyone presses the red button, then everyone survives. This is a very practical, pragmatic way to look at it. So I think this is a very masculine way to look at it. Everyone's going to look at it and say, okay, that makes sense. I get to live. That's the first thing you notice. Everyone's going to first notice, I get to live. But then they're going to say, but hang on, then if everyone presses the red button, then everyone gets to live. That's the most obvious way to look at it. And it's kind of painted as if, like, because he's showing people's votes. And this is the malicious part about this. And this is why I'm even making this video. This guy's spreading propaganda. Like, you didn't need to make this specifically for Americans, and you didn't need to show their votes. You did it on purpose in order to try and make Republicans look bad. It's malicious. Voting red on this particular question does not make you evil. It is practical and reasonable to think that if everyone gets to survive by pressing the red button, and you have to choose one of the two buttons, then everyone would press the red button, because everyone wants to live, and everyone would be intelligent enough to realize that everyone gets to live if they all press the red button. The problem here is that there's a lot of stupid people. Now, who is the dumbest group in the world? I know you're going to say Democrats, and yes, that's more or less true, but it's children. Children are the dumbest group. And that's why the Democrats brainwash them. They teach them to be gay and trans and whatever when they're still in elementary school. When they get through high school, well, they're still in high school, and when they're in college and stuff as well, they are the most active soldiers of the Democrats. They are parading themselves around naked in the streets, waving rainbow-colored flags, talking about how everyone needs to be an Islamic communist. That's the modern world. A trans non-binary communist, Islamic, whatever. You just pick whatever trigger word. Pick like 5 trigger words, and that's what they're saying. So children are the dumbest group. And this says everyone in the world has to press the button. That's a lot of children. And they're all going to say, oh, if I press the blue button, everyone gets to live. That's the good thing to do. It's like really simplistic video game logic. Do you want to save everybody? Yes. Okay, press that button. That's what the idiot children are going to do. So the people who voted red, they did so reasonably, understandably, not from a point of evil maliciousness, as this person is suggesting with their little thing here, but they just didn't realize on a higher level that children are idiots. You're going to have loads of children picking blue, and as a result, you're risking it by picking red, because if more than 50% are red, then you're basically saying bye-bye to all of the children in the world. Like they're not going to make it, right? So blue is the correct choice, because then you know all the kids are going to pick blue. You're going to pick blue, so that means you're going to survive. It's a very simple thing, and I don't really know what the intent of it originally was. I mean, it's not really ethics. It's not really intelligence. It's just like bear versus man. Bear versus man resulted in about 53% of women, I think it was a UK study that had 53% of women saying that they would rather be left alone with a bear instead of a man, which is to say that 53% of women, this was like young women, that they would think that they'd be attacked by the man. And this is why I don't understand people like David Shore, because you are a man, which means that the Democrats see you as a danger. And looping back around to who you are, Israel Defense Force brother, Sephardic Jewish family, conservative rabbi father. Last time I checked, the Democrats hated you, and they hate your family, and they hate your country, and they hate your religion, and they would totally annihilate you off the face of the planet. So how can you really sit there and be a leftist considering all of this? The only answer I can come up with, especially based off of his other ones, like talking about how the Republicans are the party of pimps and felons and such, the only answer I could come up with is that he must be some sort of PSYOP agent. Like, what else makes sense? I mean, you're an Israeli in a time, or descendant of Israelis, in a time where the party you're a member of wants to annihilate you off the face of the planet, and you're still sitting here pushing democratic propaganda in a very nasty sort of way. I mean, there's plenty of numbers you could pull on, right? And like this guy, like I said, he's gone through charts and graphs before. He's been doing it for years. It's like his entire life, obviously. And I've looked at some of them, and he's it's not like he's lying. It's just that I think he's skewing things like this to make it look nastier than it really is. As I said, pressing the red button doesn't make you evil. It's just a practical thing to do, because everyone would feel like, okay, if I press the red button, I get to live. Everyone presses the red button, everyone gets to live. But again, like I said, there's 3 correct answers here. Everyone doesn't press the button, everyone lives. Everyone presses the red button, everyone lives. Everyone presses the blue button, everyone lives. This matters because he's trying to spread a negative narrative for, I think, malicious reasons. And that irritated me, so I wanted to make a quick video about it, which ended up not being such a quick video. I also want to remind everyone that this guy is quoted as saying, "The public can be bad. It is very important to manage public opinion." And he's been a data guru for the left wing for pretty much his entire life, over a decade now. So I wouldn't suggest trusting this too much. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, please do the YouTube things.